This is a 2024 Kawasaki Z7 Hybrid, and today I'm going to be taking it on its first ride. Now, I've never ridden this bike before, but at the end of this video, I should have a much better idea of what this thing is all about. You guys stay tuned, and I'll give it a chase score at the end of the video. I'm Chaseontwowheels. Welcome to a first ride with eBoost. Not bad for a little parallel twin, but what kind of power does the electric side make? We will find out soon, but in the meantime, you could use your electric power to charge your car and listen to really awesome stuff. Discount link right over there. Okay, goodbye. Electric time. All right, guys, that's what it looks like, and that's what it sounds like. Now, before we get on this crazy hybrid thing, we get to thank the sponsor of this video, which is my favorite motorcycle phone mount, which is Quad Lock. If you guys have never heard of Quad Lock, they are by far the best motorcycle phone mount. So on the Z7 Hybrid, we have a handlebar setup, and the best setup for, in my opinion at least, for handlebars is the handlebar clamp going into this pivoting arm. This little arm goes into the actual head. This little guy's a vibration dampener. That way your phone camera doesn't get affected by the vibrations of the motorcycle. And then that is the actual lock of the mount, and that goes into the back of your camera mount. So all you do is click it onto there, rotate it sideways, and boom, you guys probably heard your phone locks onto there. And then all you gotta do is get it off, press this, rotate sideways. If you guys want a discount on Quad Locks, they have mounts for literally every single motorcycle. You guys definitely check them out with my link in the description down below. That'll give you a little discount for you guys to get a awesome phone mount. Thank you, Quad Lock, for sponsoring the First Ride show. We love you guys. You are fantastic. And thank you guys for supporting Quad Lock. When you guys support the companies that support us, it allows us to make more of this content for you guys. Alrighty, guys, ads are done. Let's ride a hybrid motorcycle. I've never done a bike like this, guys, so I don't know what to expect with a hybrid. I've obviously driven hybrid cars before, but I'm interested to see how motorcycles do the whole hybrid thing, because, you know, I mean, I don't think I need to explain this, but for you guys that do not know, a hybrid is a gas-powered engine and a electric-powered motor. So inside of this motorcycle, there's the regular engine. You guys can kind of see that right here. What you can't really see, though, is Chase struggling to get his gloves on. What you can't really see, though, is there's a giant battery right behind here. So the power of the motorcycle is coming from both the motor and the engine at the same time. So I'm really interested to see how that feels while riding. Now, I'm 5'10", got a 32-inch inseam, and I've got pretty bent legs actually on this motorcycle. If we get it cranked up here, we can take a look at it. There's so much going on here. I don't know what eBoost is, but I cannot wait to try that out. Now, the bike has a few modes that we'll run through really quickly. Obviously, we are in sport mode right now. We can hit eco, hold that. We go into eco mode, but check this out. HEV and EV. If we hold that button, EV only. Or in neutral. Hold on, we got to paddle shift it into first. Huh? Oh. I'm dumb. Oh my god, I've found a way to make it not turn on. Okay. There it is. Okay, we finally made it. So, I'll try EV again. I'll show you guys. I totally ruined that. Sorry. We're in EV only now. The bike is fully electric. Okay? We will now go into... I'll do EV only later in the video because who cares, right? Alright, we are in Eco. And, I think we can now get this video started. Starts out in EV, and there's the actual motor. Alrighty. By the way, did you guys know we have a newsletter? Go check it out. We only email you guys once a week, and we don't trust YouTube to let you guys know. Okay, getting ready on the hybrid. Let's get her going. Go! Go! Ah! Alrighty guys, it's the first ride. Let's get this thing started on the Z7 Hybrid. Alright, so guys, as far as body position goes, we've got a relatively thin seat on the Z7 Hybrid. It's not as soft as I kind of wish it was for a naked bike. And then my legs are kind of mediumly tucked up. And then my upper half, I've got a slight lean forward. My arms are bent, kind of hanging down to the side, a little low. Overall, I'm going to call this a slightly sporty, yet still upright body position. Definitely something I could see myself riding for an extended period of time throughout an entire day. The only thing I would really like is a little bit more cushion in the seat, but the body position wise, I'm definitely okay with. Now guys, typically at this red light, I change modes, and I'm not going to be doing that. There you go. I'm not going to be doing the mode change here, because I want to stay in eco mode. Actually, with automatic transmission, I want to stay in this throughout the city riding portion of the video. And then when we get to the highway, we can get into the other modes that the bike has. And eventually we'll go into EV only mode. Because there's so many different modes and different ways of things, I'm going to do things a little differently today. Hope you guys understand. Let's see if I can connect to the camera and see what it looks like. Oh, snap. Eco only, baby. Oh, yeah, that's wide enough. That's totally fine. No, get off the camera. Get off the camera. All right, cool. We're in fifth, going nowhere. Come on, automatic transmission. You're killing me. All right, guys, let's talk about... Oh, my God. This really messes with your riding. So let's talk about what is powering the Z7 Hybrid, because I think it's strange. We've got two motors here, a motor and an engine. The motor, the actual gas-powered thing, is a 451cc parallel twin, and it has a hybrid drive. Now, this bike is good for 68 horsepower and 44 foot-pounds of torque, and it's coming in at a weight of 502 pounds, which, yes, is heavy for this style motorcycle, but that's because of that electric hybrid drive. And no, I did not stall the motorcycle. I do not have a clutch. It is currently in eco only mode, so I can do that. So guys, currently I'm in eco mode, which is their more economical mode, obviously. When we get this red, or when the red turns green here, I want you guys to keep an eye on how the bike accelerates. AT means automatic transmission in eco mode. And when we get going, I want you guys to watch how it cycles through the gears. It is definitely not something you would personally do. Starts us out in electric only. I give it more throttle, gas turns on. And now we're going 50 in 6th gear. Did you guys notice how fast it changes gears? Now, part of it I totally understand. We're in eco mode, right? I'm basically telling the motorcycle I want the best fuel economy possible. But I do feel like there needs to be a correct mix of fuel economy, but also give me some sort of like shifting like I would expect. Because even when I'm just casually riding around and I'm not trying to accelerate or anything like that, I do feel like it shifts gears way too early. Like way earlier than I even expect it to be honest. And I am not used to sitting still with no engine going. That is still very strange to me. That's full throttle. So that's my thing. I kind of want their eco mode to adjust based on my throttle input. So right now their eco mode is just eco mode. That's all it cares about. But what I want it to consider is the rider giving it more power? So in that case, I need to shift later. But right now it just has these kind of, it seems like it doesn't care what throttle input I'm giving. And I really wish it did and modified it from there. Now, of course, we're in automatic transmission. And if I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I don't really prefer automatic transmission. So I'm going to start for the rest of the city portion using the paddle shifters. That's how you can shift up and down, because there's, along with having no clutch, there is no shifter pedal. I'll show you. You guys can see there's nothing down there. So you have to use paddle shifters, which I think are cool. We'll shift down here. And now I'm going to be in paddle shifter only mode. Now you guys can tell that there's no AT for automatic transmission. I'm in control now. And I will admit, typically, I'm not a huge fan of no shifting on motorcycles. It's just weird to me. But I do feel like Kawasaki did a good job of the shifter pedals. I guess I should probably talk about those later in the video when we're talking more about the controls, so I'll do that later, but I do generally think they did a good job with that. Let's get her leaned over, and I'll tell you guys why I don't like automatic transmissions. So you guys might have noticed there, when I was leaning the bike over, when we shift gears with the paddle shifters, there is a pretty distinct pause in power that is very obvious when you are in automatic transmission mode, but it's still there when you're manually shifting the gears, especially when you're giving it power. And what I'm a real not fan of, or what I'm not a big fan of, is when you're in automatic transmission mode, the bike doesn't necessarily know that you're leaned over, and that interruption in power very much so upsets the motorcycle. And on the way to shooting today, there was a time where I had it in automatic transmission mode, just letting it do its thing, and I was in a turn, throttling through the turn, and the transmission shifted in the turn, and the whole bike just got upset during that area. So after that, if you're like very pleasure cruising and you're not doing anything serious, sure, the automatic transmission's fine, but anything above that, anything mildly aggressive or just like intentional riding, I would almost always have it in manual transmission, because I don't want the motorcycle thinking it knows when I want it to shift. I want to be able to control that, and I want to be able to control when that disruption to the chassis is going to happen. Also, before we get on the highway, I will note, just as a warning for you guys, when we were doing the camera car run of the highway, what up, puppy dog? When we were doing the camera car run of the highway, we got into stop traffic. I don't know if the stop traffic will still be there, but I thought it would be funny to test out the EV only mode on the highway. So that's what I did. I got it into EV only mode, and it was fine until the traffic started going quickly again, and I realized that to get out of to get out of EV only, you have to be going slow. So I was already going too high and basically locked myself into EV mode on the highway. I will not be doing that moving forward. So I'm going to hold the sport button down, get it into sport mode, and now we can get onto the highway. And that means we have to figure out how fast this little motorcycle will go from 40 miles an hour to 80 miles an hour. And we have EcoBoost, or eBoost, I should say. All right, sport mode, be ready. We got to be going 40. All right, 40 to 80 on a 2024 Kawasaki Z7 Hybrid. On your mark, get set, go. That's with eBoost. And that's 80. Top of third, that's 80. It looks like we're gonna get stuck in traffic, so perfect. I'm gonna do the same thing I did when I was doing the camera car run, and I'm gonna put this thing in eco only mode here in a minute. If we get in like legit stop traffic, I'll do that. I'm not gonna do that while the traffic's going, but I just think it's super interesting that you can put this bike in EV only, and you can it's no gas when you do that. Also, what was the 40 to 80 time? I'm gonna be honest, I thought this bike would do a little better on the 40 to 80, so I'm a little sad that didn't seem as fast as I wanted it to. But who knows? The time never lies, so it could have been quicker. Okay, yeah, traffic is stopped. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hold that button down, and now you guys can see we're in EV only mode. There's an EV right here, and as you can hear, we are electric, fully electric right now. I just have to be careful to not be in this when the traffic starts lightening up. So this is really neat that you can go from electric, you can go to basically gas only, and you can go to a hybrid. So I love the idea of all of those changing. And once we get later in the video, I'll show you guys McLaren, hello. Once we get past all this traffic stuff, I'll show you guys what's probably my favorite part about this bike, and that's the eBoost. I just used it there to get on the highway, but I didn't feel enough boost, but when I was riding it around earlier, I felt more boost. So I don't know if it was just a situational thing or what, but we'll test that out more later in the video. But first, we got to get through all this traffic, and Chase has to open his visor because it is warm today. How hot is it? It's like 83 out here, guys. When did that happen? One of these things will show me the EV range. So it says EV range is 9 miles. Does that mean I can go 9 miles on EV only? All right, we got to be cautious. The traffic's lightening up. We got to make sure to not be in EV mode. I don't want to be in the same situation I was earlier. I got to admit, this is kind of cool though. Being able to just be in electric mode. The one thing I will say, when you are in EV mode, there is, you guys might be able to see it on the bike, but when I give it throttle in EV mode, you can almost feel the electric motor hitting. Watch my phone vibrate. Oh, it doesn't do it then. Hold on, let me get off throttle and on throttle again. You guys see how my phone's vibrating? There's a weird little hit happening when I get on throttle in EV mode only. Not the biggest fan of that. I feel like it could be smoother, especially since this is a hybrid. You should have your systems kind of working together better to give a smoother experience to the rider. So not a huge fan of that. So let's see if we can change back into regular mode. We'll hold the HEV button. Now we're in sport mode. Awesome. And we can hold the eco button and it'll go into eco mode. Now we're back in eco mode. We'll talk more about the buttons later because I do have an opinion. Of course, it's a Kawasaki. I wonder if it shuts the power off if I'm in sport mode. All right, so sport mode, it allows for the power. It doesn't shut the actual motor off. Interesting, okay. Boost mode. I guess while we're stuck in traffic, I can talk to you guys about the eBoost mode. So, if you notice in sport mode, we have this little bar right here. When you're throttling up in sport mode, you can hit this button right here. And basically what it does is deploy hybrid power, so the electric power. It basically gives you a boost. And it is literally like you would imagine in a video game where you're going, and you know in the video games or in the movies, they click a button open and there's a tiny little red nitrous button, and then they click it and then the flames start shooting out the back of the car, and then they're like, no, going so fast. That's what the eBoost does with electricity, and generally I would say it gives you about a 5 to 15% power boost during its lifetime, like during its little bar here, and that bar recharges as you're going. And I gotta be honest, I have never experienced that on a motorcycle, and it is exciting. It is so fun to have a little button that when I'm throttling up, it starts making me go faster. It sounds ridiculous. I feel like a child because of it, but it's literally awesome, and it opens up this whole new world of how to think about motorcycling and tech and how they kind of work together. It gets me very excited. I've had a good time. Once I'm able to, I'll show you guys more of the eBoost, but for now, EV only. Just like that, one button press, and now I'm on EV, which is kind of cool because an EV is the most efficient in these scenarios where you're barely going. So you can literally use the EV when it's most efficient and then go back into sport mode when you don't need the efficiency of EV, because right now I would just be wasting gas. But as you can see, the engine is totally cut off. I'm using no gasoline right now. And interestingly, you do have gears in the electric mode, but it's automatic only. It will not let you manually do those. You cannot get out of automatic only. So we're in EV gear 2 right now, as you can tell on the dash. You know, at least the camera car and the motovlog are gonna be synced up. I hate it when we get one, if we get a traffic in one of them and no traffic in the other, they don't look right. But at least here, they'll look the same. Stuck in traffic. But it's kind of the perfect motorcycle to get stuck in traffic like this though, because of the whole hybrid EV only stuff. God, it is, you can feel things clang when even in EV mode, when it shifts from one gear to another. It's so weird. You would not, you're like, wait, I'm in electric mode, right? Why are things clanging around? But it's shifting gears, I guess. It's weird. All right, so I'm gonna try to get out of EV mode. I'm in EV2. All right, I can get into sport mode at 17. All right, we'll keep an eye on it. Still trying to figure out when it locks you into EV mode. Oh, do they have 2 lanes blocked now? Holy crap, only one of them was blocked earlier. All right, we're back under power. eBoost. The eBoost was getting me going too quick. This is where I was stuck in electric mode. All right, so hopefully the traffic will clear up and we can talk about this bike on the highway. We are in sport mode now, chilling at a modest 40 miles an hour. I will note that the bike has no cruise control either, so sad about that. You guys know I love cruise control on basically any bike. All right, eBoost. So the more power the bike naturally has, I ran all the way out of eBoost. That was awesome. All right, so we're at highway speed, so let's talk about highway real quick. A little vibration in my handlebars, little vibration in my feet. Wind's hitting me about chest level. I'm leaned forward slightly, so the wind really isn't that bad. And honestly, it's a warm day today and feels great. Bike has a little bit of pulling power at about 80 miles an hour, but there's really not much left, because remember, you are on a 451cc parallel twin. You're going to run out of power. The eBoost can only help you so much. Oh yeah, it can. Oh, the eBoost is great. Oh, I love the eBoost. The eBoost is my favorite. The eBoost actually does a lot when you're in the higher revs and the engine is kind of done. When the gas engine's done, the eBoost can still help you out quite a bit. That was actually impressive. I did not expect the eBoost to help that much. Let's get the bike leaned over. We had a very slow pull off here. Suspension's a little soft. The bike doesn't feel great throwing it into a turn. I can start to feel some odd weight here, and for whatever reason, I don't have a ton of confidence in the front. It just doesn't fill me with confidence, I guess you should say. Going around these traffic. Okay. Oh, there's a cop, but I would want to go in the front of this lane. If that cop doesn't get in front of this lane, I will show you guys how to do, what's it called? Launch. You can literally launch. Oh, shit. Oh, the cop's going to be next to me. Oh, that's sad. So normally you can hit eBoost and it will launch you from a get-go, but you can't do that when there's a police officer to your right. That is not what we do on this channel. I've learned my lesson enough to not do that. Actually, I've always got pulled over for tags. It's never been anything like, illegal. Good God. All right, cop's gonna get behind me. Maybe he pulls me over? I don't know. I'm not doing anything wrong, and I have an actual tag this time. All right, so the eBoost has that kind of launch control thing that it can do. You basically get it to stop, you hit the eBoost, and it lights up the whole thing. And it basically uses all the engine and all of the motor, the electric motor, to launch you as fast as possible, and that will get you exhilarated. So even with only a 451cc parallel twin, it will get you thrown back in the seat, and that is pretty freaking cool. So right now, if I hit eBoost, I get a moderate power increase. But, oh my God, dude, that's 4 cops on the side of the road in the span of like 2 minutes. They're trying to get us, fam. But yeah, eBoost is going to be dictated by how much throttle you're still giving it. Like, you still got to give the bike the throttle to get going. And the more throttle you give it, the more eBoost you're going to notice. But so far, eBoost has been very fun, and eBoost adds an entirely different, like, characteristic to riding that you now have to focus on. Yeah, see, full throttle on eBoost and it gets me thrown back. So the gearing, as long as I've been in control of it, feels solid. I haven't had any issues. It's only when it's under automatic shifting that it shifts so freaking early. And obviously this is shifting like this because we only got like 50 miles on the bike, so it's still in its break-in. It's trying to make me not break the bike. That's basically what's happening. As far as the transmission goes, the only thing I don't like about it is how much power it kills to shift. It's just too much power that it cuts and disrupts the entire chassis of the bike. I am not a fan of that. Now, talking about I was about to eBoost between these two. Talking about the engine braking, it is a parallel twin, so you are going to have a relatively decent amount of engine braking, which I do appreciate. Me personally, I'd probably want a little bit stronger, just a tad bit. But not really much, honestly. I'm going to mess around with eBoost for just a minute, and then I want to finish the video in EV mode only. Can I go? Oh, I'm going. Oh, my God. All the obstacles. All right, we're chilling, and then we're going to shift, and then eBoost. If you use the eBoost in combination with throttling, this bike is an exhilarating experience and very fun. If you just do engine, it's okay. If you just do electric, it's neat, but it's the combination that I think really works. Okay, we got to talk a lot. So let's talk about the controls. We have a lot of stuff going on. On the right side, we have our kill switch and we have our eBoost button. I've covered eBoost. On the left side, we have mode change, which is sport or eco. That's it. I don't trust that car. And then we have a select button in the middle. On the top, we have AT and MT. That's automatic transmission, manual transmission. And you would just hold and press on all these. And yes, they're Kawasaki's menus, so to change modes or anything, you have to press it and press it far longer than you think you should before it will change. Then we have a walk button, which if we get stopped, I'll show you guys later on. You can do walking on this bike and it'll just walk forward for you. Under that, we have HEV and EV. HEV standing for hybrid electric vehicle, and then EV, electric vehicle. So basically hybrid versus not hybrid. That is the difference in the bottom button. You can press and hold that. Under that, we have the blinkers, we have the hazards, we have the paddle shifters. Now, a couple times I have hit the horn when I meant to downshift. So those are a little close together. I wish they maybe weren't so close. eBoost. Oh, eBoost through the gears? Yes! Oh, that was awesome. I haven't done that one yet. That was fun. Okay, and then we have the screen. So, I'm going to be honest, I don't think the screen is bad. I think Kawasaki kind of did okay with the screen. The problem is with a bike like this and as many systems as it has, it's got a lot of stuff to show. I feel like the screen's a little tiny. Maybe it could be a little bigger and give you more real estate to show you all of those settings. But overall, they did an okay job, and showing the way the EcoBoost pops on, I do think is pretty neat. So overall, Kawasaki, I'll give you a pass on the screen. I did just realize, have not talked about the brakes yet because I haven't used them a lot, and relatively soft. Like, way softer than I kind of expected them to be. And they have a very soft front. It takes a lot of pull of that lever to really get going with the brakes and really start feeling them slowing down. Constantly messing with my microphone today. My apologies if it's causing audio issues, guys. I'm trying to work that out. All right, let's go into full EV mode, if I can. Let's shift all the way down. But if I'm in second gear, can I go EV only? I cannot. If I'm in first gear, can I go EV only? I can't. No thank you, Cardo. I do not want the radio to be on. Oh no, my Cardo won't turn the radio off. All right, turn the Cardo off. Okay, we're gonna finish the video in EV mode. Oh my God, my Cardo is losing its mind. So we're in EV only mode, and I wanna finish the video in EV only. So another thing I know from being stuck in this earlier, EV mode will max out in fourth gear. And what's the max speed? Is it 42? Was I doing 42 on the highway? No wonder that was terrifying. So yeah, EV only mode, we're gonna be topping out at 42, 43 miles an hour, which for a lot of city roads is totally fine. Now watch. If I'm gonna hold HEV, watch it not go into it. You see what I'm saying? So strange. All right, cool. Let me show you guys the walk mode, and then we will finally give this thing a chase score. Suddenly being on an electric bike is so strange. That would take some getting used to. The whole like going electric, not electric thing. That would be weird. Cool, but weird. You can actually hear the electric motor disengage. Okay, so if we're not moving... All right, so guys, check out walk mode. If we just hold the walk button, it goes into walk mode, and you'll see an F and an R here. If I throttle forward, I go for, this is max speed, 1 mile per hour, right? Okay, now the R, yes, is reverse. You just rotate the throttle forward, and again, same speed, and it will go backwards. How crazy is that? Which is cool. On a motorcycle that weighs 502 pounds, you will definitely need that because it's a little bit heavier. All right, guys, I've hit on just about everything I can with this motorcycle, and I know there's a lot to talk about with this one. So it's time to give the 2024 Kawasaki Z7 Hybrid its chase score.
All right, let's get going on the chase score for the 2024 Kawasaki Z7 Hybrid. So I gotta give throttle response a 9. Now, let me explain before you start asking yourself how a 451cc bike gets a 9 for throttle response. I'm factoring in the eBoost with this, and legitimately, I think this whole eBoost system could really become something huge for motorcycles, and it makes this bike a very fun experience while riding. The agility of the Z7 Hybrid is a little lacking because of what seems like a longer wheelbase. I'm assuming that's to give space for the battery system, but that does make it a little slower to maneuver. So I'm giving it a 4 for agility. When it comes to the brakes, I didn't really notice anything good or bad from them because of the strong engine braking, so I'll give them a middle of the road 5. Now for the acceleration, I'm going to give it a 2. Not necessarily because it was slow, but because of that power pause between shifting gears with the paddle shifters. I really didn't like that, and it kind of took away from the entire experience, so I feel like giving it a knock in the acceleration department is really the best I can do. Now for the suspension, it felt a little off to me, so I'm going to give it a 4. Nothing terrible, but definitely nothing shining through here. Comfort-wise, I give this bike a 6. I feel like it needs a little more comfy of a seat, but the body position's not bad. Now for tech, I gotta give this thing an 8. While I don't think Kawasaki absolutely nailed the whole hybrid system, I think there is a very fun future for hybrid motorcycles. Now, you first ride fans are not gonna be surprised here, but for ease of use, this is where Kawasaki always struggles. And a complicated machine like a hybrid machine makes it even worse. It's not the worst I've seen from them, but it could be much better, so I'm giving ease of use a 3. Now when it comes to versatility, I'm gonna give it a 7. The ability to go full electric and quietly ride around the city, but then go into sport mode and you have the fun on twisty roads with the eBoost, I think is super cool. Fun for the money is getting an 8 from me. This bike isn't crazy expensive, and the novelty of having the eBoost system that you get to use on top of the ability to go full EV is just a really enjoyable experience that you don't get anywhere else in the motorcycle market, so it gets a high score for that. Now, totaling up the chase score for the ride section, it gets a total of 24, while the usability section gets a total of 32, giving it a final chase score of 56.
Alrighty guys, and that's the chase score on the Z7 Hybrid. Let me know if you guys agree with my numbers in the comments down below. Overall, I think Kawasaki is very close to having something amazing with this hybrid, but there's a lot of small details that I feel like they really need to get figured out before this can become mainstream. My main thing right now is the smoothness between the hybrid system and the gas-powered system. I feel like they could work together better to smooth the entire system out. And obviously, it's a Kawasaki. I really hate how long they make you press buttons to change modes. So I definitely think that needs to change. But the biggest deal that I think this bike needs to change before it can get really popular is that transmission. It just disrupts this bike way too much. And there's examples on the market of companies that are doing a phenomenal job with automatic transmissions. Honda's is not bad. So if you're looking to, I guess what I'm saying is there's a bar set in the industry for an automatic transmission on a bike. And because of that, this bike is not hitting that bar, and it makes it feel less than stellar. So if I was gonna give Kawasaki a note, I would say get that automatic transmission dialed and get your hybrid and your gas-powered systems, get them talking more and make it a smoother experience. And I think you will have the future of motorcycling. I think far more people will get excited about electrics in this than they will fully electric motorcycles. And this, my friends, means I get to do a hybrid launch. How perfect to end the video. All right, so first thing we got to do is we have to hold the HEV button. All right, we're in sport mode now. And if I press the eBoost, it starts blinking, and now we will have launch control. We're going to be testing this whenever this light turns green. While we're waiting for the launch control, thank you WOW Motorcycles for providing this fun little toy to ride around today. If you guys want to check out some awesome used bikes, WOW in Marietta, it's where I got my first bike, and it is where this bike will be going back to at the end of today. If you guys want to check them out, we'll have links in the description for a bike provided by WOW. Has a huge inventory of used bikes, so if you guys are looking for something used, definitely check them out and let them know that you appreciate them supporting First Rides. Also, before we wrap the video up, thank you Quadlock for sponsoring this episode. All right, friends, we got eBoost ready to go. I'm launching the second that thing turns green. It's like a Formula One thing. No cops, right? No cops. Good enough. On your mark. I'm full throttle too. I'm not messing around. Go. God! Oh, that was awesome! awesome. I have not got the opportunity to do that, and that was great. Totally worth saving it to the end of the video. Oh, that was great. Guys, I'm Chaseontwowheels. Share this video out with somebody that you think would dig a hybrid motorcycle. If you guys want to watch more first rides, we'll have a playlist link in the description down below. You guys like the video, subscribe for more motorcycle content. I'll see you on the next one. Whoa! I'm hiccuping now. It was so fun.